She stood up, looked straight ahead, and dropped a truth bomb no one in that room expected. The cameras kept rolling, but you could almost hear the silence hit the floor. Jasmine Crockett didn't just make a statement, she started a political earthquake, and what she revealed about Tim Scott. It's now the talk of every backroom in Washington. In a moment that quickly grabbed the internet's attention, Representative Jasmine Crockett took the floor with one goal: to reveal what she believes is the real story behind Senator Tim Scott's political maneuvers, with poise and confidence. She claimed that beneath Scott's calm and moderate image lies a calculated game plan designed to push forward policies favoring big donors and power brokers. She framed Scott not as a bridge between parties, but as someone camouflaged in unity language to gain broader support. Her tone wasn't theatrical, it was sharp, composed, and surgical. The room's mood shifted, phones came out. Every word she spoke seemed to peel back another layer of political illusion, and for many, it was the first time they questioned what Scott's public image may really be hiding. Crockett's remarks didn't come from thin air. She walked her audience through a timeline of bills and votes, pointing out instances where Scott voted against measures aimed at increasing transparency or expanding protections for marginalized groups. According to her, these weren't just standard conservative votes, they formed a consistent pattern. She alleged that Scott publicly spoke about equality and opportunity, yet behind closed doors, his actions didn't line up with those ideals. Her breakdown included pointed statistics, highlighting who gains and who loses from Scott's policy priorities. For some in the room, this was the first time such contradictions were laid out with this much clarity, and it didn't take long before whispers turned into full-on buzz online. What truly intensified the moment wasn't just what Crockett said, it was how she said it. Unlike typical congressional speeches filled with vague generalities, her tone was crystal clear, as if she was directly addressing the American people. She challenged journalists to investigate further, asked constituents to look deeper, and dared her colleagues to confront uncomfortable truths. There was no yelling, no dramatic hand gestures, just sharp facts, confident delivery, and unapologetic conviction. In today's political climate, where shouting often overshadows substance, Crockett flipped the script. That made her message hit harder. People watching didn't just hear her, they felt the impact. Within hours, the internet lit up with reactions. Hashtags bearing her name trended across X and TikTok. Clips of the confrontation got reposted by influencers, journalists, and political activists alike. While some called her brave and uncompromising, others accused her of playing divisive politics, but no matter the take, one thing was clear: she'd struck a nerve. Independent fact-checkers quickly got to work parsing her claims, and early results showed that much of what she presented had roots in official voting records. This wasn't just another partisan jab, it had weight, and it opened the floodgates for a much larger conversation about hidden agendas, performative politics, and who actually benefits when the cameras stop rolling. As the clip continued to circulate, political commentators from all corners of the spectrum began weighing in. Some conservative voices defended Tim Scott, claiming his record has been consistently pro-growth and that his detractors are misrepresenting his intentions. Meanwhile, progressive analysts applauded Crockett for bringing these inconsistencies to light, asserting that her comments were overdue and necessary in a system where surface-level narratives often dominate. Several independent journalists took to Substack and YouTube, diving deep into Scott's record with newfound scrutiny. Crockett's delivery may have lasted only minutes, but its ripple effect extended into late-night panels, radio shows, and even church discussions across America, a sign that her message had truly penetrated beyond political circles. The aftermath. Tim Scott's team remained largely silent, a move many interpreted as strategic. Some speculated that responding to directly might elevate Crockett's message further, while others felt his silence was a missed opportunity to clarify or counter the accusations. Meanwhile, Crockett doubled down in follow-up interviews, refusing to walk back any part of her speech. She emphasized that her intent wasn't personal, it was about accountability. Her words resonated especially with younger voters and activists, who often feel that politicians are rarely challenged from within their own ranks. That's part of what made this moment so viral. It wasn't about party versus party, it was someone speaking out from within the system itself. This exchange has now shifted the spotlight onto both lawmakers in ways neither could have fully expected. For Crockett, It cemented her role as a bold, unfiltered voice willing to take risks in the name of transparency. For Scott, it introduced new questions about how closely his public messaging aligns with his legislative record. With the election season approaching, both figures are likely to carry the weight of this moment into their campaigns, whether to defend, build upon, or push back against. Political insiders now view Crockett not as a rising voice, but as one already standing tall in a room many assumed she'd quietly navigate. She's no longer emerging, she's arrived. Asterisk in a political climate where moments come and go quickly. The Crockett-Scott confrontation has managed to linger. It's become more than a headline, it's a litmus test for how people evaluate authenticity versus performance. Voters are watching more closely than ever, and Crockett's move may signal a shift in how public figures are held accountable. The courage to speak boldly, backed with verifiable claims, resonates deeply in an age of carefully curated personas. And whether Tim Scott chooses to respond or not, the conversation has already evolved beyond him. For many, it's no longer just about Scott, it's about the expectations we place on those who say they represent us, and what happens when someone dares to call it all out. Asterisk.